Brian Bidoff here, blogging from paradise. Let's settle in, have a nice, lovely chat to accelerate your happiness, to instill happiness, to increase your blogging success. And this live broadcast can appeal to anyone with a mind, which is all of us, or anyone who is mind, which is all of us, and of course, bloggers as well. But before we dive in, guys, I wanted to take a moment to remind you that I run a blog, a website, creator, owner, called bloggingfromparadise.com. And this blogging website, hey, Yeshua, thanks, brother, is stocked with free blog tips through my blog posts and also premium courses that I sell and premium ebooks that I sell. So I'm saying premium in that they're really thorough, in-depth blog guides available for sale. If you click on the courses tab at the top of my blog or on the ebooks tab at the bottom of my blog, you'll see courses and ebooks laid out. Technically, I sell them through Gumroad and PayHip. You can come in. Nobody could see you.
Okay.
Keep like twisting all the way around. Just like keep twisting all the way around. Is that yours? Yeah, put it right back in. Yep. Buena idea. We could even put that in plastic too. I'm thinking about it inside there. Might be a good idea. Very humid here, guys. The monsoon season is kicked in for Korea. So it's really humid and kind of rainy. So I'm thinking I might put the camera in the plastic bag. Could be a good idea. Anyway, guys, the topic of today's live broadcast is wow. It's a tip to follow, a strategy, a mindset. It's really more than a tip. It's a mindset technique guide. To me, it's a guide to follow that will help help you to be happy. It's a happiness accelerant, and it'll also help you increase your blogging success. If you'd like more traffic, if you'd like more income, stuff in the world, that's cool. It is this. Your whole life experience right now in the world is your thoughts and feelings, your mind being reflected back to you, being played out. What? Really? Yeah, that's reality. That's the truth. Now, guys, if you're unhappy and you're going through a tough time, or if you're struggling with your blog, or if you feel like you need help, most of these frames of mind, or your mind, most of these beliefs, let's say your beliefs, they're unconscious. Sometimes they're very conscious. It feels very conscious, but in a lot of cases, guys, it's entirely unconscious. So that means you're not aware of it. So you'll be going through life and you'll be struggling with various states of mind, and nothing will seem to be going together. And it seems like it's out there, right, in the world. And with your blog, you just can't get any traffic. You can't get any income. It's so frustrating. So the mistake that all of us have made, and I'm training my mind, so I'm watching myself make it now sometimes, but a lot of bloggers, they're making it all the time, like nonstop. And a lot of people in life, nonstop mistake. And it's a mistake that could be corrected. So this is a thumbs up. The world runs away from its own mind, runs away from the mind. It sprints away from it. It sprints away from the conscious beliefs in the mind and unconscious beliefs really fast. And it looks out there in the world of form, people, things, trends, government, laws, relationships, family, friends, and it blames them and it blames it. And it says it's your fault. And it says it's you. And it says I'm a victim to that form, that world. And that's it. And then you have what's called depression, sadness, panic, looking to the outside world for answers or looking to the world for answers. This will make me happy. So it's not looking within the mind. It's like, I'll get that, then I'll feel happy. I'll get that and I'll be secure. I'll get that and I'll be comfortable. The problem, the fault with this mindset that's insane, it's really not sane, is that everything in the world of form, so everything in the world, I'm not talking about in your mind, everything in the world changes. We all know this. So in one moment, everything seems fine, and then in the world, and then that changes, and then you're upset. We've all gone through it. The success accelerant and the happiness accelerant is this: begin now to start training your mind to look within. At your beliefs. Some of them are going to be conscious, and then a lot of them, they're going to seem to be unconscious, or they will be unconscious. You won't even be aware. Yet, when you start, you decide to look within, you practice. It's a skill to practice. It's a skill to practice. And you look within, you look within, you look within, you look within. This is going on. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of traffic struggles. I'm so sick of just having whatever issues you're having in your life. It could be financial, the appearance. I'm going to say appearance now because they're not real. Everything's in your mind. So what's in the world is not. The mind is something you're dreaming, that you're imagining, that seems so real. But since we're all in reality one mind, and that mind is perfect and flawless and abstract, which seems nuts until you get deeper into your mind. If you don't get deeper into your mind, you'll never realize it. It's like at this top level, you're thinking in your mind, everything is tangible. The world is dependable, real. It's reality. It just gives you excuse to blame your unconscious and conscious beliefs on the world and to be a victim to it. And you'll see that's why most minds, we'll say most people, appear to be really unhappy, upset, angry, and they keep looking to the form, to the world for the answer. And they're disappointed. They're disappointed again and again and again. Now, in the world of duality, they'll appear to have some good times and some bad times, or maybe there'll be a lot more good times and a lot less bad times. But there's still no real long-term solution there, no answer, because the good times change. We know this. You'll never be happy and successful and free by looking out there for the answers. You always have to keep looking back into your own mind, because the world's just acting out what you believe, and it's because we're one mind. We appear to be separate. We do. I know. But you'll see how that hurts you when you're thinking in terms of separation in your mind. Now, again, guys, a lot of this happens at the unconscious level. So as a suggestion, if you're open to an idea of there being a Holy Spirit, or call it Fred if you want, or the Force for Star Wars fans, doesn't matter what you call it, but this one eternal, perfect, abstract intelligence that's within all of us, which is really just one, who we are, That force, Star Wars fans call it the Force. Christians could call it the Holy Spirit or Jesus. Buddhists could call it Buddha. This abstract idea of love that can guide you through the process of seeing that you are experiencing your life and everybody's acting out what you believe. It will help you see this through prayer, through thought, by saying, hey, the world's acting out my beliefs. That's how powerful you are. You are that powerful. Your mind, I mean, in essence, your mind. The reason why, of course, adopting this concept and embodying it slowly but surely, practicing it, will cause you to be really happy and will cause you to accelerate worldly blogging success, is because once you realize the only thing that appears to be stopping the happiness is your unconscious belief, you can forgive it, meaning look past it, meaning you could see that you're imagining it, that you're dreaming it. Everything that's going on out there is what you're like the director of a play. You are called the world. Then you could face that fear. You could face that belief, that dream, forgive it with that infinite force, hand it over to the infinite force for correcting in your mind, and just listen to the guidance from there. It's almost like saying, well, I mean, it's not almost, it's really happening. You're dreaming your life unconsciously. And when you begin to see that all of your experience are in your mind and you're thinking it up, you can let go or forgive or look past those dreams, realize that you're thinking it or believing it, and replace. Well, you're so much not doing the replacing, but you let go the struggles, and then spirit or the force will guide you with answers that help you wake up your mind. And then in the world, as long as you believe in these forms of money, these symbols of success and traffic, it'll baby step you out of that world by not sending you money or sending you traffic. But since you still believe in those symbols, it can give you guidance to help you work with those symbols. So in essence, guys, at its form, at its base, when you realize that the world, the struggle, all that stuff that's going on is in your mind and they're acting it out, you can change that. And then as you change it, you'll have greater happiness. You're not a victim. It's a really important point. And this is going to be a very uncomfortable skill to practice, because you and I, through most of our lives, unless we have a very strong, well-trained mind, we will believe that we're victims in the world. Hey, John. And we will believe that that lack exists. We'll believe in poverty and scarcity. So when you're experiencing that in your life, guys, in your mind, we should say, you're experiencing depression and shortage and lack and limitation, this tip, and as a blogger, like nothing seems to be coming together, practicing mind training, pulling it back into your mind and not looking to the world out there, but saying they're acting it out because of what's in my mind. When you turn to your mind, first off, and even if you're an atheist, this could work, because ultimately, not can work, but it's still foolproof, because ultimately when you start realizing the world's doing what it's doing because of your beliefs, you could change your beliefs. That's comforting. You know what's not comforting? Looking out there into the world and thinking, I have to get that to change me. It just doesn't work to change my success. And the reason why it doesn't work, guys, is because when you look in the world, you'll notice that all it is change. So in one split second, everything worked. You got what you wanted. The next split second, that changes. And then you're unhappy again. And then you don't have traffic. You have this great email list, and then your list disappears. And then you're depressed. And then you see how the ego mind, and this is all the ego, guys. It's who you're really not. It's an illusion. But the ego mind, which is based in guilt and fear and form, it will do everything it can to distract you from looking into your mind. And it'll say it's out there, it's in this, it's in Google, it's in my list, it's in guest blogging, it's in blog commenting. As far as the world, it's in a government, it's in a president, it's in a governor, it's in a person who runs a province, and you see it's ingenious because you and I, admittedly, we've been bamboozled, we've been fooled, we've looked everywhere for the answer to our problems, to our unhappiness, to obstacles, but the source, our mind, conscious, and more importantly, the unconscious. And the unconscious, it's sometimes terrifying to look in there because there's a lot of deep fear and guilt in there. And that deep fear and guilt is who we're not, but it feels really uncomfortable to explore it until you start working with the invisible force or the Holy Spirit or Jesus. And by Jesus, guys, I'm not talking about the historical figure of form. I'm talking about the Christ mind that he is personally identified with, the Holy Spirit. Or again, you haven't been raised historically as a Christian or Catholic, Buddhist, the Buddha mind, or Buddha. But just think of mind, guys. Think abstract. Don't think in the world. It's a trick. When the obstacles are in your mind that you're projecting onto the world, your fear, that's comforting because you could change your mind, then you'll have happiness, and then from there, the symbolic success and money and traffic are forthcoming. Now let's get practical as far as bloggers. Let's get really practical now. You could be blaming Google for your traffic woes, but embodying and embracing this concept and practicing mind training, when you say to yourself, it's not Google's fault, there's a fear in my mind and probably deeper in my unconscious mind that I'm not facing, that I'm projecting onto the world and blaming on Google. It's his fault, it's his fault, his fault. Would you rather be happy and prospering and free or right? If you want to be right, you'll say it's Google, it's Google, it's Google, but you'll see that's insane. It's not sane to blame the world for the fear in your mind. Because you see this will just happen endlessly. If you get into your mind and say, okay, consciously and unconsciously, I'm afraid of something that I'm putting on the world and I'm blaming that jerk, that search engine, or you look to Google as a false idol, as an idol. Oh, they're the answer to everything. No, don't do that. Don't do. It's another mistake because Google changes. Eventually, you'll get onto the trick. You'll be onto the ego voice trick in your mind. You'll hear it. You'll really hear it, and you'll see it, and you're like, oh shoot. When you get back in the mind and you see that it wasn't Google, but you were really afraid to commit to publishing detailed content patiently for a while, maybe for a long time, that ranked on Google, or you were afraid to commit to broadcasting live on other channels, through other online channels. Maybe Google traffic isn't what you're guided by the force. And I'm putting the air quotes just to help you. We just personify this infinite spirit, this infinite abstract force, Holy Spirit. Pick a symbol that resonates with you. But that force could say, hey, live broadcasts are where it's at for you. That's how you're going to be most beneficial to bloggers. And from there, you'll have whatever worldly success aligns. It'll come together. Just relax. It's there. But you were afraid to let go of Google and to engage in live broadcasting because you were afraid of how you looked in your mind. You were afraid of how you sounded. You were afraid that you looked stupid. You were afraid of... You'll see like all of you, everything in your life. If you're not really blissful now and peaceful and free, there's unconscious guilt in your mind, unconscious fear, and then conscious too, that feel unpleasant. But when you see that you're imagining it, when you start to go into fear in your mind, you start journeying there, you start to realize through mind training that it's not real. It appears to be real. It feels very real, but you see automatically it goes away. Anything that's real lasts eternally. We kind of understand this. If it's not real, it's not eternal. If it's true, it's forever. If it's not true, it dies and it goes away and it dissolves. Now, this is getting deeper than a blogging tips video, but it's going to be a key to your happiness. So when you begin to slowly but surely think, practically speaking, blogging wise, if I'm running into an obstacle, there's fear in my mind that I need to face and feel and release, and then I'll receive the guidance, that force. Abstract will give you an idea. Boom, hop into this, which will then make you happy and you'll feel really good and you'll have peace of mind. So that's all you really would anyway. And then from there, the worldly success is forthcoming, the targeted traffic. And then you realize, oh crap, it was never Google, it was my fear. Now, conquering the fear, there's practical tips to follow. And that's why professional bloggers, full-time bloggers, successful bloggers, they lay out the practical tips, but you don't want to make, especially if you're struggling. Well, I mean, no matter what, you don't want to make them an idol, but if you're struggling with your blogging campaign, it's not the tips, it's your mind. And it's what's in there. So don't run away from your mind. In the West, guys, we know, like I'm here in the Far East, and they do that sometimes here too, but in the West, in the US, you know, as a rule, culturally, the ego conditions us to really run away from the mind and to look in form for our answers, our country, our patriotism, our money, our government. That's a mistake. And you've probably suffered, you have suffered because of it. We all have. Because you eventually see that the answers aren't out there. They're in your head. They're in your mind. Would you rather be happy or be right? That's a line from a book called A Course in Miracles, which you may want to check out, acm.org. It's a mind training manual. It conditions you to look back in your mind to see that the world is acting out as it is because of what's in your mind, and your mind is that powerful. But it takes a lot of practice and a lot of mind training to keep bringing everything back into your mind. It does. But if you're going to be around, why not do it? Now, when you're prepared, you'll open up to it. But you'll see when you first start walking this journey that it can be uncomfortable sometimes. And most minds, most folks, they quit what's uncomfortable to do what's comfortable and bring suffering and misery. So when you start getting deeper into your mind, into real mind training, the ego voice in your head, the voice for guilt and fear, and it's an illusion, but it appears to be very real, it will begin to, in its best way possible, in its most ingenious, clever, insidious way, to create distractions in the outside world of form to pull you away from going into your mind to be happy and to be a thriving blogger, and to say, focus on this outside, focus on your body, focus on the government, focus on politics. So you'll see it's ingenious. You're going into your mind, but to see where your fear of Google traffic loss is, yet when you start, then you'll start going into your fear, but then the ego will say, stop going into your mind. No. I found the answer. AI. So see, it's like going from your mind right out into artificial intelligence, into the world of form. So the ego voice in your mind will say, no, don't look within, and it'll distract you with, there's this thing that doesn't even exist that'll do all the work for you. Mistake. Because you're not getting into the fear, which is the root of the problem. AI is not going to solve it. Google's not going to solve it. And the thing is, too, guys, as you get deeper, you'll realize that you follow these practical symbolic steps. So you'll start driving Google traffic and it'll be cool and all. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll get traffic money. But even then you start to eventually realize, and this is where the eternal happiness comes, when you start to realize who you really are, which is abstract. Oh yeah. You'll see that even with the success symbols of the world that you don't have that eternal sense of peace and freedom and calm and poise. And it's because you're really running away from your mind, and you're maybe having some worldly success, which is, it could feel good, but it's temporary, like everything in the world. This goes far deeper than a blogging tips tutorial. And the one thing you realize too, that when you start telling the truth, sharing the truth of who you are, and you start journeying deeper into your mind, that it will not be popular in the world initially, or maybe for a while, right? As long as you're in your body. And the reason for that is the world makes concepts popular that are outside the mind, not within, because the world was created for the outside, for adulation, for the egoic pursuits, for pride, for popularity, for profit, and it only wants the answers in the outside world, which is insane because it always changes. It wants nothing to do with what's inside your mind. Right now, why are billions of minds following the news? Because they're following outside to see if there's change, to see how bad it is, to distract themselves, to be unhappy, to be depressed. It's a form of self-hate, that unconscious guilt, that unconscious fear, a form of punishment. Why are billions of minds in the moment not meditating to see observe what's going on in the mind? Why are billions of minds looking to the world and money and special relationships and outside, answer, and not looking back into the mind, to the Holy Spirit, to the voice, to the force, to the abstract for the solution? Because the world wasn't created from that abstract voice. It was created from the outside ego. This is an uncomfortable concept to explore until you start seeing how insane it is to keep looking outside for the solution to your happiness. It comes from within. For minds that have been raised Catholic, Bible quote, the kingdom of heaven is within. That's literal. I mean, you could say symbolic, because it's an abstract reality, is abstract heaven. And this whole is not a picnic. You guys have probably figured it out. But by deciding to journey within and observe, you'll see that your peace and happiness and freedom is in here, and then it gets acted out there. When you're seeing, oh shoot, they're doing this because I'm dreaming it, they're doing this because I'm imagining it, and it can't be real because why? It goes away. Reality is eternal spirit, God, forever, which only deals in eternal spirit, reality, and forever. And anything that's not part of that is not real. It can't be. It goes away. How could eternity create something that goes away? It doesn't make any sense. You can use divine logic. So that's going deeper concept in this video a little bit, yet it works into it. It just, these concepts help you bring everything back into your mind. Everything. And to train yourself to do it. So this is the root of my problem, and this is the solution. That's a comforting feeling. That's peace of mind. On tap. On command, on demand, with mind training. And you have to keep training it, because you're going to see the ego voice in your mind. When you start going within, it'll say, look in the world out there. I don't want to do this. The answer's out there. Screw this. I'm not going to. When people begin meditating for the first time, or minds, people begin meditating, they're like, oh, I felt really antsy. And it's not that meditating is the only answer. There's many paths, but that antsy feeling is just anxiety sitting in your mind. And then you see what happens. Rather than sit there and observe it and feel the anxiety in your mind, you listen to the ego that says, run away from your mind. and look in the world out there for the answer. And then there's this really unpleasant cycle. We've done it. If you're struggling anywhere in your life, guys, it's your mind. The world's acting out what you believe, but the difficult to understand part, an uncomfortable to understand part at first, is that it's happening unconsciously. So when you see what appears to be really tough circumstances that appear to be nightmares, you're going to be like, I'm not consciously thinking this crap up. And you're going to be like, I want more than anything for this not to be happening. That's the proof that it's unconscious. You're not even aware of it, but if it's going on out there, the world is acting out your unconscious beliefs. And if there's a real crap show, it's really difficult. It's back here in your unconscious. Your mind is that infinitely powerful, which is the ego will say, no. So angry, that voice will be enraged and it will not want you to look there. So you're going to listen to that nut job? How does it help you? You're in this state now because you've listened to it and you're not going back in your mind. When you start to realize it's all in your head and that the kingdom of heaven is within, you will not look to the world. Like a lot of folks look to this form, this body, this what appears to be a white guy body for an answer to their questions, and they're making a mistake. They're not going within their mind, and they're looking at me. So they're listening to the ego voice, which is a mistake. I'm not it, guys. I'm not the answer. Nothing in form is. When you go back into your mind and you begin to face your conscious and unconscious fear, and you work on saying it's a dream, it's a process. We're all one mind. That's the reality. Everything else the ego is making up. Believing this, dreaming it, and you forgive yourself, you look past it, and you hand it to that infinite force for the correction. It'll correct it in your mind, at the mind level. It'll correct it. You'll feel better. You practice it, and then the guidance comes. So you'll be happier and happier. And then as far as the worldly stuff, the symbols you still believe in, it'll give you the idea for the traffic or for the income or for, you'll be forgiving what you thought was the answer outside. So you follow practical blogging steps, but from a happier, calm, detached, dreaming frame of mind, and you'll have the success. Not that you'll also figure out that's not the answer, but as long as you believe in it, it's nice to know that the answers are in your mind and the actions you take because of your mindset. The actions that you skip are because of your mindset. The failing things you cease doing are because of your mindset. You're going to move into action, most likely, or maybe inaction. You won't be moving into anything, but it's all your mind, guys. Your whole life is your mind. Now, as far as the happiness and the struggle, you want to be happier and free and peaceful. Today, decide to go within. No, you don't have to. You could say, no, I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. That's fine. The question becomes, how long do you want to punish yourself? And thinking that the ant out there is doing it to you and it's not in your head. And it's your call. That's how powerful you are. And when I say punish yourself, guys, this crap is happening on an unconscious level. You're not even aware you're doing it. That's the turning point. That could help you remove the guilt. Because when you think you're doing it at a conscious level, you're listening to the voice of the ego, which is just enraged. It hates you. But when you start going back into your mind routinely, I mean regularly, you're going to be awe-inspired at how powerfully just infinitely powerful. Your mind's been created for you to use to wake yourself up and to wake others up and to be happy and to be peaceful. And yes, to solve for the bloggers out there your blogging problems, which were never really a problem. You dreamed them up in your mind, the world acted them out, and you keep going within. You'll follow practical steps. It's not that you're not going to follow these, but you won't look to the practical steps as your answer. You'll look into your mind and you'll receive that guidance from within, from, you call it the intuition, which says, okay, you say, I'm dreaming, I'm having the world act this out. I'm dreaming it up. I'm imagining it. Appears to be really real, but no, I am. I forgive it, which means you look past it. You're seeing that you're dreaming it and that you're all one. Go back in my mind, hand it to the intuition, the Holy Spirit for correction in my mind. Thumbs up. You'll feel much better in your mind, which is step one. That's it ultimately. And then you'll receive the guidance. And as far as happiness, guys, when you receive guidance from the intuition, it doesn't just mean if you've been really in a deep, dark place in your mind, in a deep depression, that you'll forgive it a few times, bring it back in your mind, and you're just automatically cured. You can be, because your mind is limitless and intuition, spirit is limitless love. Yet for most of us, it's a baby step process. So your intuition may guide you to do things symbolically in the world to increase your state of mind. I shouldn't say increase your state of mind, to increase your happiness and to step out of that depressive state. So turning to medicine, traditional medicine, alternative medicine, strategies, therapy, these are all very practical. It's not about rejecting the world, denying it outright. It's seeing that you're dreaming it and then working with those symbols to wake up your mind more and more and more. This is not deep, guys. That's another, it's really deep. No, it's who you really are. It's awake. Your mind's just been asleep, like mine. It's not deep. It appears to be difficult to understand only because your mind has been put to sleep. And this is the beginning of the process that you choose. If you're prepared, if you're ready, why not go for it, right? But it's up to you. If you begin to start waking this up, forget about this. You know, we think this goes to bed at night and then it wakes up, but dreaming it. Your mind is infinitely powerful. When you keep going back within, you start to realize it. That's where your happiness is. That's where your peace is. Like, imagine if all your nightmares in this world and all your struggles were in your mind. Now, unconsciously, that's where a lot of them are. But when you keep bringing it back into your mind, your intuition, the spirit, whatever it is, that abstract force. Again, guys, if you're resistant to it and you're a Star Wars fan or science, call it the force. It will help remove that unconscious guilt and fear, these really nightmarish dreams. It'll help pluck it out of your mind. You'll be happier. And then practical steps to follow in this world, practical guidance. You'll follow those steps and tips to facilitate, to accelerate the peace of mind. So it does not mean running out of this world. Absolutely not. The world will help wake you up, and working with it really helps to wake you up. So guys, I'm going to roll YouTube because the battery's going out and I want to have some lunch. It's about 1 here in South Korea. So make sure you stop by bloggingparadise.com, YouTube. I sell blog courses, blogging ebooks, publish blogging tips. Much love, guys. See you later. And Facebook, this is not deep. Try to train your mind right now.